Hey Rachel, alright, here's your spread for your past life reading. And you can see the sheet's a little different than my usual because I am out of town. So bear with me. But what we're looking at here is where you were, what you did with the majority of your time, an important day, another important day, the death, and the lesson learned, alright? And so, I'm just pulling these guys down a little so you can see. There we go. So, what's nice and interesting is we have the ancient card for Atlantis and Lemuria as far as where we're going. So that means we put this guy away because that's the time card and we don't need help for time because we're in Atlantis and Lemuria. Alright, and so what's nice here too is that I'm getting pulled for towards Lemuria, and I don't get that a lot, so that's kind of neat for me. Usually I get Atlantis. Now what's interesting is that each of these places, Lemuria and Atlantis, they have like their own feel to them. So that's how I read basically, is like I resonate with the feel of it. And what's interesting is that even though we're in Lemuria, there's a feel like there's a pull towards Atlantis, which means there's like we're looking at someone who's like fighting internally between two things, and that could translate to you. And so what your job is to make connections where you can. And so, for example, that kind of feeling that comes up, I'm just going to relay to you everything I'm seeing and feeling to see if you can connect in any way. So something internally struggling, wanting, you're here and you want to be here, whether that's a mental state or a physical state, okay? So keep that in mind if that speaks to you. So now we're going to go and see what you do with the majority of your time. And this card is the leadership card, which is really nice, obviously. That's a good quality to have, is traits of a leader. So I'm trying to see what it is you do. Like something about like a team. Okay, so we're looking at someone who's basically running a team here. So like I don't know if I'm seeing so much like a leader as in a political leader. I'm looking at someone who's really good at running groups. Like a taskmaster. So in your current life, either one, you could be someone who is very good at multitasking and getting things done because of what we're seeing here, what we're feeling here, or how you can make a connection on the other side of that is you're someone who kind of likes to be in the back row in the classroom. You like to be behind the camera, not in front of it. You could have the opposite kind of desire in this life because you already went through it here. So keep in mind that's how you can make connections. Okay, so what I'm seeing though is so let me just tell you what this person looks like. I'm feeling like this is a male life that we're looking at, and this male, I feel like we're looking at a male who has soft features, like the feeling of like almost like an androgynous look. Sorry if I'm messing that word up, but like a look where it's a guy, but it's like I'm seeing like long dark hair and just like soft features where if at the right angle you could mistake him for possibly like a handsome woman, if that makes sense. And I mean that can speak to you, you can make connections with that in like, are you someone who's experienced any kind of maybe sexual confusion, or there's something about your sexuality like bisexual or poly or whatever you're into, you know what I mean? Like how there's different things you can get from this male female kind of mishmash perspective that I'm looking at here. It's kind of interesting. So maybe that speaks to you. So let's go to the first important day. Now this is the marriage card. So we're looking at your marriage. And it doesn't always mean your marriage. It can mean you're witnessing a marriage, someone important got married, the union of something. But here we're actually looking at you getting married. And what's interesting here, I feel like this goes to that, what we were speaking to earlier about being pulled like Lemuria, but felt like Atlantis, like the aggressive energy and the non-aggressive energy, like, or the passive energy, I should say. How we're here, but we're being pulled here. I feel like this might explain a little bit. So we have the so long until we meet again card, and I feel like you and your partner are leaving. And here's the just rolling right along peaceful card, which is cool because I got this in my last reading, but it meant something totally different. And here we're seeing it be used to really clearly show me that you're very excited and you like the idea of what's happening. So you guys are moving basically, and you're very happy about this. There's almost a feeling of a long time coming. So keep in mind in your current life, I mean, this can be a couple things that I want to mention as far as with the marriage to move. Like, it's almost like once you were married, it was more like accepted that you could like go, because it was less like taboo, like, oh, he's going off on his own to do whatever. It's like, oh no, as a married couple, we're gonna go move over here to start our life together. And so that's what you did. And so keep that in mind in your current life. If you're someone that gets in relationships because you feel like in a relationship you might get permission, if that makes sense, like there's more permission in a relationship or having a relationship. So it's basically like, I feel like I want to mention your motives behind getting in relationships, and if that's something that's been on your mind or something that you feel like maybe you need to think about, or not, you know. So you can be in a very perfect, wonderful marriage for all the right reasons, and that's great, but just keep in mind that's what's coming through. Also, the wanting to move thing. There's something about, in your current life, you can be experiencing having like a very adventurous spirit, a very curious spirit, like someone that wants to get out and go see the world, cruise ships, that kind of thing. And that could stem from this feeling here that I'm getting, because this person here really wanted to get out and see the world. I feel like he was really bored at home. He's just bored. Maybe you're someone that likes to at least, you know, go like read or something at a coffee shop, or like just to get out of the house kind of thing. If that's the case, that stems from this here, just wanting to get out. On the flip side, of course, you can also be someone that wants to stay settled, home, cozy, liking a small town feel, because here was opposite, you see. So that's how it can work. Now let's go to the next important day. So this is the Conquered They Have Come or Welcome card. So there's newcomers involved, and I feel like we're looking at, it's so neat how the cards work sometimes, because it's like we're looking at you're the newcomers, but usually this card is used when there's people coming to like take over a certain region or something, but they used it here, and it's clearly because you're the newcomers. It's really neat. So the card involved, the relationship is family, and so this, I feel like we're looking at years later, you in a settled place, and this card is the confidence card. This is like a wonderful day. It's a wonderful time because there's a lot of like really good things happening. It's like, I feel like what we're looking at here is like in a movie, and it goes black screen, it goes 5 years later, and then it opens up again to see this like family who's totally happy and in their new place, and they're accepted, and the neighbors are nice, and you know, that kind of thing. I feel like that's what we're looking at here, is like finding your home. And I feel like that's a message in itself. You know, are you someone who feels like you haven't found your home yet, even if you've been somewhere forever? Are you someone, you know, is that like a little ache in your heart? Do you feel, you know, it's interesting, what I want to mention is there's a lot of people that don't ever feel at home anywhere. And that's just an interesting thing that's come up lately, and that's also linked with the concept of being a starseed. So go look that up. If you haven't heard of that, go ahead and look up the term starseed. And if you have a longing for a home, and you never really be able to feel like you're home anywhere. So I feel like that's a message, but also the fact that if you are someone, you may be someone who is home to others. Maybe you are the center point, you are the nucleus, like you're the one that people, when they want to feel at home, they come to you. That can be it as well. And in an odd way, that can stem from this, just because once you settle down in this place and you like started your family, and you had work that you really enjoyed, and you finally found your place, that itself can like kind of transpose into your cell memory. It can come out of you. It's an energy in itself. It's very interesting. So just the energy of being settled and at home can radiate from you, and people can feel that. And so you might be someone that people like to come and talk to. So just keep that in mind as well. And that's just how we can look at this. And if not, that's okay. But that's how it felt here. So here we're looking at the death card, and this is the disease card. And I can tell you right now what it feels like is a disease that is genetic, something you're born with or you're more prone to based on your genetics. So keep that in mind, because what that can mean is in your current life it can sometimes carry over in certain ways, which means like, one, are you part of a family lineage that has genetic issues as they age? Alzheimer's or anything with the heart, anything with the mind, just like keep it in mind, you know, anything physical, something with the joints, keep that in mind. I feel like if anything, like it'd probably be like heart issues. Like if there's people that have had heart attacks in your family, that's that means that, you know, others are prone to it. So it's like that might just let you know that it stems from here, but also keep an eye on it. You know, it doesn't hurt to keep an eye on it, right? Okay, so that's what I feel happens though, is that we're looking at just like a degeneration of the mind. And it's like a disease you get with, a lot of people get with age. So yeah, just keep that in mind. And so what's really nice is the lesson card, and that's self-love. And this is perfect, really. This is wonderful because that's what we see here. We see someone who wanted to follow his dreams, and that wasn't necessarily, it didn't mean having a plan. It was just, he knew that he wanted to leave because he didn't feel at home there. And so he waited for the right time and made his way out to go wherever. He didn't even know exactly where he'd end up, but he knew that he wasn't happy where he was. So that can also, you know, speak to you in your current life. You know when you're happy, when you're not happy, and it's almost like a message to kind of be real with yourself, if that's the case, if that speaks to you. Like, you know, sometimes we have like feelings that we know are in there, like really deep, but we don't pay attention to them, and we don't listen to them, and they're, because what they require is hard. Like what they require is like a lot of change, a lot of mental change or physical change, whatever, and it's really hard, and we tend to like push that away. But he knew that, like, he followed through. He didn't just push that down, you know, and just work over it and just be like, oh, this is my life. He took the steps to make the change. And I feel like that should be said here too as well, as far as maybe something you might be going through. Maybe you need to take the steps that you need in order to see the change that you need, you know? And yeah, and so we just see, it's a really nice life. It's kind of easy peasy, and he had one big lesson and you learned it, and so I feel like this lesson was fulfilled here, but it's also something to carry into your current life. Self-love. You know, like follow your dreams. That's self-love. Is you giving yourself the time and energy and everything that you need. Alright? So I hope that was helpful or interesting, and I hope you have a really great day. Thanks for letting me read you.